Okay, well, I've just started sharing my screen, so I'll just go through the presentation here, and then look at questions. So yeah, to just really to talk about the University of Strathclyde online courses, and then look at things available through other online providers, things that are available through FutureLearn, so other massive open online courses that FutureLearn offers. And there's a number of them that I went through the list and had a look at. Some new things as well that I hadn't seen before that seemingly just coming online. So those are pretty cool. So thinking about here at Strathclyde and what we're offering, it's a variety of things. So we have these beginner to intermediate courses, which run for 8 weeks. These are online, and they are also campus-based. So we're going to start offering these again on campus soon. I think the thought is maybe from the new year, from what I've been hearing. But they are always available online as well. And we also offer a master's degree which is offered in 3 steps. So the full master's degree is broken up into a certificate, diploma, and then the MSc dissertation. And all of this is online. We don't offer that in in-person format. Those are just online only. So thinking about the beginner to intermediate 8-week classes. Now I know there's a lot of text on this page, but I'll provide the slides for this after the event. I'll put them up so you will have these as an aide-memoire once I put those up. But 3 different points in the year that these start. So as you can see, it's October, January, and April. This next coming term is the 17th of January is the next start, and then it's kind of mid-April as well. I'm not sure of the date for that one, but range of different classes on that. So the first one really is the Introduction to Family History Research, and these, as I say, they do have a Scottish focus, but they cover UK-wide sources and research as well. So they've grown up out of our on-campus courses, hence the Scottish focus to aspects of them, particularly for the introduction and the beyond the basics. But those 2 courses also do cover England and Wales, Ireland, military sources, geographic sources, and those are either specifically for those countries, or we're looking at sources that cover the entire United Kingdom. So if you're not interested in Scottish research, don't be put off by the fact that there is a Scottish focus on these. They should hopefully still be of use to you. You can take these for credit or not. They're taught at a first-year undergraduate level. And if you want to take them for credit, they're 10 credits a piece, and that credit is available at that level. You have to do the assessment, and there's an assessment for each of these courses, and that really, well, depends on the course itself. But the introduction class, that one you're asked to study 3 generations, and that can be your family, could be somebody else's family that you decide you want to work with. If you don't have anybody that you want to work with their family, then we do have a sample family that you can look at, and that's a Scottish-based family. So using technology, again, more research into a family tree, and again, you can choose the family, and in that class you start looking at using family software. So I think there's 2, there's Legacy and Family Tree Maker, that are considered on that course, but the things that are taught should be useful no matter what software you end up using. And then Beyond the Basics does what it says, so goes beyond the standard birth, marriage, and death census records, types of things that we look at in the intro, and looks at like land records, inheritance records, and gets you to think about using resources in a slightly different way, so adding context and that kind of thing. So the 2 genealogy classes that we offer, the introduction one, it looks at the Y-DNA, mitochondrial DNA, as well as autosomal, and really is an introduction to all three of those types. And the understanding autosomal DNA testing is what it says on the tin. It is that, with a real focus on using test results to help you further your research. So as I say, you can take these for credit or not, entirely up to you what you choose to do. You will receive feedback on your assignments if you do choose to do those assignments, but say it's entirely up to you. So there aren't any entry requirements for these classes. Anybody can take them. It does help if you are familiar with using the internet, and if you're taking this online course, you'll be absolutely fine. There's a different virtual learning environment, so we don't use the FutureLearn platform. It's a different platform that we use, but it's kind of the same type of thing, whereas you log in, you work through the course. Materials are released every week on it's either a Friday or a Monday, depending on the course. And then you just look at the materials whenever suits you. So there's not really a particular time of day or night or whenever. You just log on and download them and look at them. Having said that, there are a few real-time sessions that are offered for all of these classes, but those are optional. They're recorded, so if they're not at a time that suits you, you can watch those later. The cost for this year is £176 per 8-week course, and that's the same whether you take it for credit or not. Our website has a lot more details on these, and you can register online. The registration place is called MyCLL. So CLL is the Center for Lifelong Learning, which is what our courses lie within. So if you have any questions on those, there's emails on the website that will go to the team that deal with these. But you can also email me. My email will be at the end of this presentation. And if I don't know the answer, I'll just forward it on to the team that do. So let's see. Now I'm trying to have a look at the Q&A. Oh, there we go. Right, Lisa's asking, do you need any sort of scientific background for the genetics course? No, you don't. I think it does help, but they start with a basic understanding of genetics. So how the sex genes work and combine, how the autosomal combination and recombination work. So no, you really don't, Lisa. So let me just see if I can. Oh, there we go. All right, just finally the chat's allowing me to open it up in a separate box. So I've just got my eyes on those. Okay, so yeah, so I've moved on in the presentation to our postgraduate program. Yeah, this is really aimed at people who are, I suppose, interested in working with clients and taking paid clients. But if you're not interested in working with paid clients, then that's absolutely fine. We don't require that to come onto this course, but what we do is we teach kind of at that professional level. So whether or not you're interested in taking clients, we're expecting you to come up to the level of professional genealogist standard. Our goal particularly for the first 60 credits, which is the postgraduate certificate, is to get people out of that with a real understanding of the breadth and depth of records and type of research skills that are required for doing British research at a professional level. Real focus on referencing. We again look at genetic genealogy, but also working with clients, giving using your communication skills to both write client reports, write up your results, thinking about how to if you have a thorny question where you've not been able to come up with an answer, or there might be several people that might be the correct answer. How do you deal with communicating that type of uncertainty to your family, to yourself, to a client? looking at ethics as well. So considering all of the ethical issues that come with genealogy. So communicating to people about information they might find uncomfortable, and talking to them about that up front. That you might find things that are that they're not expecting, and then how to best present that. But also looking at the ethics of genetic genealogy, and that's a big ethical area. So it is British based, the postgraduate program, but as you move along in the program, you really have the ability to focus on areas of interest. So in the diploma, there are research projects that you choose the topic for. You can choose a particular area of the world, particular time periods, and then there's a research project that's more of an academic focus, that you choose the topic with a lot of feedback from the tutor team. And then the dissertation, you choose the topic for that as well. So British based, but with the ability to look elsewhere as well. So, okay. Oops, all right, for some reason it's taking me backwards. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so both the broken up into three different steps. So I've kind of said a bit about this just a minute ago. But the certificate, which is the first 60 credits, does really focus on these UK records and research. The diploma level is the next 60 credits, so that's 120 credits altogether. We get out beyond the United Kingdom, so we start looking at other areas of the world in depth. So Australia, New Zealand, US, Canada, the old British Empire, and different time periods as well. And as I said, you do have choice in this section to choose your own areas of topic. And then the dissertation topic is chosen by students. So lots of different types of dissertation topics that have been chosen in the past. I mean, the range is pretty amazing. Does need to be a genealogical focus here, but a lot of our students do projects that are really strongly based in social history, local history, and that type of thing. But the focus, part of the focus needs to be on genealogy. So it's either consideration of the sources that are used and the value of those for a genealogist. A lot of dissertation students do a lot of case studies, so that's how they bring in the look at individuals and families. So considering how different historical events affected communities and the individuals and families that lived within them. Some people do genetic genealogy topics. Other people have done things like, well, one of my dissertation students last year looked at the issue of resilience, and she did a survey of current genealogists and how genealogical practice affects its positively. Well, she found that it was positive, their resilience. So how to help themselves get over traumatic negative experiences. And this was in the midst of, well, of course still in the midst of the pandemic, but that was very much at the time when the pandemic was first swirling around. So so that's a big thing of what she looked at. She had a psychology background, so she brought that into the whole thing. So lots of different types of things that one can do with the dissertation. So you can do the master's degree. So well, having said that, you can do the first 60 credits. You don't have to keep going. You can choose to do the first 60 credits and then exit with your postgraduate certificate. Same thing with the diploma. And then you can go all the way and do the dissertation if you like. So all of these can be done part-time, full-time, or in a modular version. So there is an FAQ on our website, which I need to update because it's for this current academic year. So I need to update it for people looking at the next academic year, but the main points will be the same. Some of the points that will change are the timetables within that, and it's some of the fees. But so the part-time version is over 3 years. Each level is taken in an academic year, and that starts in October. Next year, early October. The full-time course is all three of those: certificate, diploma, dissertation in 18 months. So the certificate and diploma are taken in the first academic year, and then you focus on the dissertation in the first half of the next academic year. And then the modular version, if you do the full thing in a modular version, then it takes 5 years. So the certificate is 2 academic years. The diploma is a year and a half, really, and then you start the dissertation in the October and have an academic year to do the dissertation. But you can mix and match between these. So if you needed to do the certificate in over the 2 years in a modular version, you could do that. You could then switch to the part-time to do the diploma. And then do the dissertation year, so you could bring that down to 4 years. So we offer a lot of flexibility with timings and so on and so forth. So I'll just actually go back here, and the modular version can also start in October, January, and April. So I can see Susan's asking about the beginner and online modules. Yeah, you can do those in any order, Susan. And no, the Future Learn course is actually quite different from the introductory module, although there are some of the same things in that we talk about you know, how to do research, but that's really covered maybe in the first week and not in such great depth as we go into on the Future Learn course. But the introductory course really covers the ins and outs of a lot of the record types. So going in depth into the history of the UK census, into church records, into civil records in a way that the Future Learn course didn't. And we also touch on Irish records and that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a very different beast than the Future Learn course. So yeah, but yeah, you can do those in any order, and students certainly have done those in any order quite successfully. So yeah, so just moving back to the master's course. So as I said, it's entirely online. The teaching materials, what we've done is we've written lectures and put those up in PDF formats, but then we've recorded those as well, but in an audio format, so you can listen to those, and that's quite useful just for people who have different ways of learning, but also if you're doing the dishes, driving, that kind of thing, you can listen to the lectures. We have a number of what we're calling multimedia presentations, which are short videos that focus on a particular aspect or area or website, something like that, things that we find students have struggled with in the past. And these presentations range from 5 minutes up to an hour, but on the certificate they tend to be shorter. Diploma, they tend to be a bit longer because we're getting more into depth on that. And then there's a lot of that, depending on the time of year, the discussion forums are more active or less active. If an assignment's due, then they tend to be less active because everybody's got their head down and are doing that. But then we also do live chat sessions as well. So those are optional on the part-time course and the modular course, and we record those. Is we have students on the course from all over the world, different time zones. So we can't make those mandatory. But on the full-time version, the chat sessions are mandatory. So we try to find the best time for everybody on the cohort. And those chat sessions take the part of some of the assessed work. So they are really important. You get a tutor who assigned to you, and that tutor marks your work and provides a lot of feedback and support. And it says there's no exams with this. The coursework's very practical in nature, particularly on the certificate level, but also on the diploma, because you're getting hands-on with the genealogical work that you're doing. So, but the research projects on the diploma and MSc levels do move you into sort of academic research and beyond just looking for people's families. You're broadening out and considering reference questions that move beyond just was so and so born in 1846. So Susan's asking, yeah, would I recommend starting with the introduction? I would actually. I do think that that's a good grounding for the rest of the modules. Well, having said that, the genetic genealogy 2 courses really stand alone. But if you're interested in the classes that really talk about records and doing sort of more traditional genealogical research, I would start with the introduction. And I've had students take that introduction class who've been doing genealogy for years, and they still tell me that they've learned something through the course, and really just appreciate the camaraderie of being on the course as well. So yeah, yeah. So this screenshot is a shot from the virtual learning environment that we use on the postgraduate program and on the 8-week courses. So as you can see, it's not as, I suppose, colorful. The text, the information is, you have to download it onto your computer. It's not presented on the web page like it is on FutureLearn. So yeah, so it's a slightly, it's a different look and feel. You upload your course materials that you've worked on, your assignments and assessments onto this virtual learning environment, and then your marks are given on this virtual learning environment. So it's a different beast, I suppose, than the FutureLearn space. So, and yeah, and just as an example, this is the multimedia presentation that a gentleman named Chris Payton did for us a couple of years ago, looking at Irish research. And I think this is one of his, well, actually, his wife's, not one of his wives. One of his wife's ancestors' house in Ireland. So for the postgraduate program, we usually require an undergraduate degree or similar evidence of study skills. So if you've done training through work, if you've done some, HND, HNC, so it doesn't have to be a full-on undergraduate degree. If you can evidence that you can turn work in on time, that you can work at a particular standard, you have reasonable communication skills, all of these types of things. I certainly am happy to consider people coming onto the course, and we do have a number of folks on the course every year who don't have undergraduate degrees taking the master's degree and do really well. So definitely want to make this as open and available to people as possible. Taking one or more of the 8-week classes and doing the assignments and passing those is a great way of showing that you have, the ability to do a course online, but also, work to an assignment and do that successfully. So that's something else to think about. I do look for some experience in genealogical, historical, archival research, but that again, you don't have to be an expert. If you've been doing your family's research for a couple of years, maybe doing some other people's research, then that's great. It doesn't necessarily need to be British research either. So if you've always done your research in Australian records or US records or whatever, that's fine. It's fine. So, and the fees can be found on the website. These change every year, so I can't really put them into the presentation, but it's fairly full on the fees. So the postgraduate program, it takes a lot of time. takes a lot of energy, and it's fairly, expensive. So it's something to really seriously consider, whether it's for you, whether it's the right time for you to do it, and so on and so forth. So, um, oh, somebody's asking about, to get funding, will I need to be full-time student or can I do part-time? I am pretty sure that I have had part-time students get the type of funding that you're talking about. That's not my area of expertise, though. That better to talk to the well, depending on what country you're in, the providers of that funding, and just find out what it is that they require, for you in terms of the number of hours for study. Um, yeah, again, I'm not 100% sure. I suspect you'd be okay for part-time, but I can't tell you 100% because it's not my area of expertise, and it's something that often changes from year to year. So I would have a look at the online information for that funding, and just see what needs to be. Now, our full-time and part-time courses are also covered by student loans. So if you're somebody who can who's eligible for student loans, then that's possible too, and that's for the United Kingdom. So every year we do have American students who try to get student loans for our courses, and to date that's not worked because ours is an all online course. So so yeah, sorry, I don't know more really good specifics about that type of funding, but yeah, I do know students have gotten that in the past. I just can't remember what country they were in, so I don't want to say for sure. So you can always email me if you want to, and I can pass your email on to our program administrators, and they'll have a better sense about that, or they'll know who to ask. So. Um, Okay, so that's information about our courses at Strathclyde, but there are lots of other genealogy providers out there who are doing online courses, and the ones that I'm talking about here are just ones that I have personal experience with. So I feel comfortable about talking about them, but there are others. So if you do a web search for online genealogy education, things like that, you'll come up. So Pharos Tutors is excellent. They're based in England, but they do online courses, and they do courses for a range of different country focus, things like that. They do offer some classes where you get feedback from your tutor. If you do an assignment, then you get feedback. They don't do classes for credit, so they're not accredited, if you like, but they are excellent classes, and these range from just a couple of weeks up through, I think, 6 weeks. So yeah, to go on and have a look at their website. If I have just thinking about coming onto the postgraduate program, so our 8-week courses act as evidence, but if you do a Pharos course where you've had to submit an assignment, and it's been given feedback, then I would certainly consider that as evidence too. So the National Genealogical Society is based in the US, and they do courses for members. Some of these are free and some you need to pay for, but a lot of these are amazing, and they cover topics from all over the world. As you might expect, a good focus on American-based research, but they are really great. And then the National Institute for Genealogical Studies is based in Canada. Again, another place that does a range of topics from across the world, and they're beginner to advanced as well. And a number of their classes will you'll be able to get feedback from tutors on those. So some good online providers out there. As I say, there are other ones, but these ones I've either talked to the people who are providing them, I've taken classes through them, that kind of thing. So they're great. Just thinking about the Future Learn courses that are out there too. So University of Strathclyde has done this whole suite of classes called Working Lives, and then there are 3 different Working Lives courses. So it's one looking at railways, one looking at coal miners, and then textile work. And so these are more looking at the historical side of things, but I also have just a short talk for each one of those that looks at resources for genealogists around those 3 areas. So the learning from the past class that is being offered, it looks really intriguing. That's along the lines of the current course that you're doing, in that it's looking at methodology, I suppose, and how to do the research. But you get taken along with the people teaching the class to different archives and so on and so forth. So it's looks like great fun. Just pulled out the Scottish Highlands clans course that looked good. And for anybody who has British military connections, the British Army course is excellent. And you can see it's a big span of time here. So you're 18, as it says, from Waterloo to the Rhine. So goes through the Second World War. And they do list out all of the courses that they consider kind of touch on history. Some of them I was looking at, I was like, I'm not sure that I would call that history, but there's quite a few, 40 some odd, maybe a bit more than that. So, and of course, the ones that are listed on that website are available for free, for, you know, as with the other Future Learn classes. So thinking about things that you can do from home, moving beyond straightforward education, I suppose, offered by other bodies that's inflicted upon you. Things that you can do on your own, of course, which will offer you lots of learning on your own. I strongly encourage people to volunteer to index and transcribe records, partly because when I've done this myself, I've just learned a bunch about the records that you're transcribing, because you need to learn about them, and usually the projects offer some information about the records and so on and so forth. But then also just looking at the records and expanding your skills and your eye in looking at the handwriting, terms that are used, things like this. It's a great way to educate yourself. So the Society of Genealogists is based in the in the UK, particularly down in London, although they have a stretch across all of the UK. And they ask if you're interested in volunteering for them, just email them. They do have some projects that you can work on from home. You can also look at the Cindy's List website that has volunteer projects, but a website that I've been particularly enjoying looking at projects and then getting involved with is this Zooniverse website. And there's a lot of historical based projects on here. Just having a look at them the other day, and the 3 that kind of caught my eye is there's one in Maine, state in the US, and they have a whole range of land records that they're looking for people to index and transcribe. One based around one of the graveyards that's being excavated as part of the HS2 project in London. I think it's the St. James graveyard. So it's their burial records that they're trying to get people to transcribe. And then another one that caught my eye was prison records for New South Wales and Tasmania. And I think that one's about halfway through the project, but there's certainly lots of scope for doing more with those. So those are just 3 examples to many other projects out there. They have some that are based around old weather logs, ship logs, all sorts of things. So it's very cool. The other thing you can do is just do a search on volunteer to transcribe, and there's lots of other things out there. I've also put some links in week 1 for more ideas, because there's some sort of classic ones. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints do transcribing projects as well, as do Ancestry help support transcribing projects. So on their websites, they will talk about these projects and you can get involved in those. So one thing I did with my family, my mom, over the real intense lockdown was working on sort of oral history with her. So all of these questions that I would think of and forget to ask her, really. You know, she's doing well, but she's 85, and you know, I want to make the most of our time together and get all the family stories from her. So I, you know, started talking to her on the phone and recording our conversations on the phone, which is really good. So, yeah, I think it's definitely worthwhile doing. You know, if you do have family members still around, and those, you know, can be younger family members too. And so, what I find, certainly, my brother and I have different family stories that we were told, different memories of things. So, talking to him, it's like, oh, I have no memory of that whatsoever. Also helps that he's 10 years older than I am, but. So, you know, talk to your siblings, talk to your nieces and nephews. You know, you never know what other family members are going to know. So, and then digitize your family photos. Now, this is well, depends on how many photos you have. Can be a long-term project that, you know, or short-term. There's advice out there about how to do it, how to get the best quality images, how to take the information that you know about the photos and actually combine that in program to capture that metadata, as it's called, along with the image. So but yeah, I've digitized some of my family photos, but it's something I'm waiting, probably unwisely, for a rainy day to do, partly because my family seem to be photo crazy, so I've got lots of them. Right. Oh, yes. Yeah. Photographing and transcribing gravestones. I'm just looking at the chat here about doing that. And that is lovely, really useful. And you can upload that type of information to a website like Find a Grave or Billion Graves, but then also family history groups are doing this as well. So yeah, that's an excellent thing to do. Okay, just to wrap up, my email is here. We do have quite a bit of information on our website, so do have a look there. And at the moment, there's, as I said, it's this year's academic year, but in January, I'll update it for next year. So. But yeah, just be in touch if you have further information that comes up after we're done here on this call. So Lisa's asking, is genetic genealogy covered in the master's, or would that be a separate line of study? We do cover genetic genealogy in the master's degree. Yep, in both the first 60 credits and the second 60 credits, so the certificate and the diploma. The certificate, it's kind of a grounding, and then in the diploma we go further into different aspects of it. But you can take the, you know, if you're not interested in doing the master's, you can take the 8-week courses and get information that way. So. And actually, I have to say, doing the 8-week course, one or more of the 8-week courses, is good grounding for the master's degree as well. So. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Right. Anybody have any other questions that I can help answer at the moment? I'm just eyeballing the chat here. All right, I will stop sharing. Hopefully everybody's been able to take down my information. As I say, I will put up the slides on the space on the Future Learn space. And so you can see those, because I know the old slides are up there right now, which are largely the same. I check the links and then update the dates on those, but a lot of the information is the same. So, okay, well, yeah, just having a look at my my second screen to see if there's anything come up. Oh, Barbara, you're very welcome. Yeah, yeah. I'd say transcribing's great. If you do have some extra time to do it, you know, you're giving to yourself, but you're also giving back to the genealogical community. There's been so many volunteers throughout the years who've helped with transcribing and indexing, and it's nice to join that community and help give it back. So. Okay, well, if nobody has anything else, I think I'm going to round off and go get ready for our next chat session, which is at 10 minutes past 4. I'll be joined by Graham Holton at that event, and he's going to be focusing on genetic genealogy as part of that, and we'll take other types of questions as well, of course. Yeah, so just having a look out. Yep, you're welcome, Lisa. Yeah, it's great. Well, thanks to folks for joining us. Um, and yeah, you're very welcome. Great. Well, just be in touch via email or whatever if you've got questions that come up later. Very happy to help out. So great. Well, thanks everyone, and I'll either see you in a few minutes or at some other point. So great. Take care. Bye.